Goku has had many shocking experiences throughout his life. There's the 2 times his best friend died.
Krillin, no!
There's the time he went to meet God, and instead what he got was some guy that looked like Demon King Piccolo.
Piccolo!
And then, of course, there's the time that he found out that actually he's an alien from outer space. However, arguably, even more shocking than all of those moments is the time that Goku found out that he was the one that killed his grandfather. This moment happens during Goku's first fight with Vegeta. It's when he sees Vegeta transform into a Great Ape for the first time that Goku puts 2 and 2 together. The mysterious monster that had shown up one day and stepped on his grandfather was none other than Goku himself. It all suddenly made sense. This revelation shocks Goku to the core. And for the audience, this is also an emotionally powerful moment. Because remember, anybody that has actually been consuming Dragon Ball from the real beginning, in other words, when Goku meets Bulma for the first time, has followed Goku's life up until now. And we've known that he didn't know that he could turn into a great ape. So to see him have to deal with this reality, to see him have to accept that he's the one that killed his beloved grandfather, really makes this a standout moment within all of Dragon Ball. So that begs the question, how did the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z handle this moment? The answer is not great, but there's a lot more to say about that. So today I'm going to be comparing, analyzing, and rating the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z plus the Dragon Ball Z Kai Dub and the Latin American dub in order to determine how they adapted this very important moment in Dragon Ball. First of all, just a heads up, I'm not going to be saying that the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z are perfect masterpieces and they're actually better than the original Japanese. If you can't handle that, then you're probably not going to enjoy this video. However, if you actually want to understand what Akira Toriyama wrote, then you're awesome, and I think you're going to enjoy this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Note, this is my translation. I tried to keep it as close as possible to the source material, while also having it still sound natural. I see now. It finally makes sense. Oh my god. The monster that stepped on and killed my grandpa, and also appeared at the martial arts tournament and destroyed the arena, was me? I'm sorry, Grandpa. This guy is so incredibly strong that unless I use all of my ki, I probably have no chance of winning. If I die and once again go to the afterlife, I'll apologize to you in person. What I love about what Goku says here is how blunt and full of emotion this is. You can feel Goku's pain. You can feel that he's remorseful about, of course, killing his grandfather, but also running amok at the 21st Tenkaichi martial arts tournament. And that last line is so good. Goku actually says, if I die and go back to the afterlife, I'll find you. I'll go to wherever you are, Grandpa, and apologize in person. This line makes Goku come off like a samurai riding off into battle against an army. He knows he's probably not going to win, but he's going in anyway, and he's going to give it his all. Okay, so let's get to the dubs. I'm going to start with the Funimation Redub, not the original Funimation dub, which many people just call the Ocean dub. But I am going to look at the Ocean dub as well. It's just that I'm going to do it at the end of the video because it is so good. But for now, let's start with the Funimation Redub.
I think I'm finally beginning to understand. The giant monster my grandpa warned me about. It was me! Yes, I get it now. I'm the one who destroyed the stadium at the World Tournament, and I'm the one who crushed my grandpa! Why didn't anyone tell me? All these years, Master Ocean and the others, they must have known the truth. Must have seen me transform into this thing. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I don't know if there's any way I can make it up to you. I'm gonna try.
Overall, this isn't horrible, and there's actually a good amount that's okay. But there's 2 major issues in this version. First of all, there's that line where Goku wonders about why Master Roshi and the others never told him that he was the monster that his grandpa had always warned him about. Here's the thing, Goku is never portrayed in the original Japanese as someone who would wonder that sort of thing. He doesn't really care about details like that. So this was absolutely needless, and it kind of misrepresents who Goku is. And to make things even worse, they got rid of the line where Goku says that he's going to have to use all of his ki in order to even stand a chance at defeating Vegeta. Now, I'm not saying that this has to be translated word for word exactly, But there are ways to translate this and still keep the essence of what Toriyama wrote, while still making some changes here and there and rearranging things. This is not that. And then the other major change in this version comes at the end. In this version, there's no mention of death, there's no mention of the afterlife, and there's no mention of Goku apologizing to his grandpa directly. Instead, we get a weird line where Goku says that he's going to try to make it up to his grandpa. What does that even mean? How is he going to do that? Is he implying that somehow defeating Vegeta is going to make it up to his grandpa? That just doesn't make sense. So sadly, instead of getting a really powerful and memorable line that punctuates this moment perfectly, we end up getting a line that is kind of forgettable and also kind of confusing. So what would I rate this adaptation? Well, when you put the good and the bad together, I think you end up somewhere just kind of in the middle with something rather mediocre. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Next up, we have the English dub of Dragon Ball Z Kai.
So that's why. It all makes sense now. But if it's true, if I really am like this guy, then the monster that stomped my grandpa Gohan to death and smashed up the tournament grounds all those years ago, that was me, wasn't it? I owe it to you, Grandpa. I owe it to you and everybody else to take this guy down no matter how strong he is, even if it kills me. And if I see you in the next world, I'll make it a point of saying I'm sorry for all the horrible things I must have done.
Not surprisingly, the Dragon Ball Z Kai dub is more faithful to the source material, and that's great. However, there are a few issues. First of all, we have the usage of I owe it to you, which seems to be somewhat of a translation of Goku's apology to Grandpa Gohan. Yes, it's possible to translate Goku's apology to his grandpa as I owe it to you, even though I wouldn't do that myself. But by doing that, you give the reader or the viewer the impression that Goku has decided to continue fighting Vegeta because he feels bad about what he did to his grandpa, or because he wants to make it up to his grandpa somehow. But that's not in the original Japanese. Yeah, he apologizes to his grandpa, but that has nothing to do with Goku's decision to continue fighting Vegeta, despite the odds being stacked against him. And then there's the I'm sorry for all the horrible things I must have done line. So the original Japanese really is more focused on Goku apologizing to his grandpa for killing him. But when you add in all the horrible things I must have done, it really makes it sound like Goku is apologizing for a lot of other things, when really that's not the case. So I think this was a bit too much. Overall, there is more good than bad in this version. For example, I really like how Goku says, even if it kills me. And note, that's not an exact translation of what Goku says in the original Japanese, but it captures the original intent. It captures the spirit, and that's why it's a good adaptation. I'm not saying that everything has to be translated word for word. I know a lot of you in the comments complain about that. That's not what I'm saying. And if you're complaining about that, then you're not listening. So there is more good than bad, but there's some subtle changes here that kind of change a little bit Goku's personality from the original Japanese. So what would I rate the Dragon Ball Z Kai Dub's take on this moment? I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, let's take a look at the Latin American dub, aka the Mexican dub of Dragon Ball Z. By the way, I do speak Spanish, so I translated the Spanish that you're about to hear into English.
Ah, claro, ahora comprendo. No puedo creerlo. El monstruo que pisó a mi abuelito. Y también el que apareció de la nada y destruyó por completo el lugar del torneo de las artes marciales. ¿Con que ese monstruo era yo? Perdóname, abuelito. Este es un sujeto invencible, pero si no utilizo todo mi ki no podré ganarle y la tierra dejará de existir. Pero si muero y voy al otro mundo, te pediré unas disculpas.
In case you're not aware, the Latin American dub is known for being really accurate to the source material, and this is no exception. Not only did they capture the meaning of what Goku says, they even kept the general order in which he says things. However, there is one difference that I want to point out. As you may have noticed, they added a line about the world ceasing to exist. This was probably just done to match the mouth movements, and it's not like it really fundamentally changes anything about this scene, so I think it's a totally acceptable change. So what would I rate this version? I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Why not a 10 out of 10? Well, you're about to find out. So let's get to the Ocean dub. How did they adapt this scene?
Now I see. He's the one responsible for destroying the martial arts stadium. Yeah, and he's the one who stomped on all those innocent people and stepped on my grandfather. Hey, I'm over here! Okay, Grandpa. This one's for you.
That's right, in this version, Goku concludes that Vegeta was the one that killed his grandpa. This is a masterpiece of translation, so I'm gonna have to give the Ocean dub a 10 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're gonna enjoy my other dub comparison video, so check that out on screen right now. See you in the next one.